Reed's second murder trial. The debate over her boyfriend's death reignites. In a frigid winter morning of 2022, the Boston suburb of Canton witnessed a tragic and controversial event when John O'Keefe, a police officer, was found dead in the snow outside a colleague's home. The incident quickly developed into one of Massachusetts's most controversial cases, with the victim's girlfriend, Karen Redd, charged with murder. 3 years after that tragedy, in April 2025, Redd's second trial officially began after the first ended with a hung jury. According to the indictment, Karen Redd is accused of hitting her boyfriend John O'Keefe with her SUV and leaving him to die alone in the snow outside a party at Boston police officer Brian Albert's home in Canton, about 20 miles south of Boston. She faces 3 serious charges: second-degree murder, vehicular manslaughter while drunk driving, and leaving the scene of an accident. Prosecutors allege that after dropping O'Keefe off at Brian Albert's party, Reed deliberately backed her car into him and left. Hours later, she returned and discovered he had died. This case has shocked the public, not only due to its tragic nature, but also because of controversial claims from both sides. The first trial ended without a conclusion, when the jury declared they were deadlocked and could not reach a unanimous verdict. This led to the court proceeding with a new trial. The second trial began in April 2025, with some notable changes, particularly the appearance of Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan, a former defense attorney who had represented famous clients like notorious Boston gangster James Whitey Bulger. In the opening of the new trial, Prosecutor Brennan emphasized that truth and data would lead the jury to the truth, and notably, Reed's own statements would confirm her crime. The first witness called by the prosecution was medical worker Timothy Nuttall, who testified that when he arrived at the scene that morning, Reed was frantically saying, "I hit him, I hit him, I hit him." Brennan also played a clip from a television interview in which Redd said, I don't think I hit him, but could I have cut him? Could I have hit his knee and incapacitated him? As far as I could see, he didn't appear seriously injured. Could I have done something that knocked him unconscious? And in the drunkenness and in the cold, he never regained consciousness. The prosecution also called Carrie Roberts, a friend of O'Keefe, who testified that Redd called her at 5 a.m. the morning after the party, screaming, "Carrie! Carrie! Carrie! John is dead!" and hung up. Roberts then went to O'Keefe's home with Reed to search for him, and later to Albert's house. Roberts testified that she couldn't see anything when they stopped the car, but Reed said, "There he is," and jumped out of the car, running straight to a snow pile shaped like a human body. For the defense, attorney Alan Jackson strongly refuted the accusations, asserting that Reed never said, "I hit him," and that prosecutors were trying to distort her statements into a confession. He explained Reed's words as someone trying to understand an inexplicable situation, a natural concern of a grieving significant other, a woman desperately trying to piece together what might have happened on this tragic night. Jackson also claimed that the prosecution's case was based on blatant and erroneous assertions, not based on facts and evidence. He declared, "John O'Keefe did not die from being hit by a car. The truth will prove that. The evidence will prove that. The data will prove that. Science will prove that, and experts will tell you that." A notable point in Reed's defense strategy is the theory that she is the victim of a major police conspiracy, and that O'Keefe was actually beaten to death by another police officer at the party. However, the second trial has an important difference. Judge Beverly Cannon issued a pretrial ruling prohibiting defense lawyers from mentioning potential third-party perpetrators in their opening statements. They may develop a case against 2 law enforcement officers, but cannot accuse Brian Albert's nephew, Colin Albert, as they did in the first trial. Law professor Daniel Medwed from Northeastern University commented on this ruling. "I view this as a blow to the defense strategy, but not a knockout punch. All the defense needs to do is create reasonable doubt about Karen, Reed's guilt, and that doesn't require pointing to an alternative perpetrator by statute." A key witness in the case is former state policeman Michael Proctor, who initially directed the investigation. However, Proctor was fired after the disciplinary board discovered he had sent vulgar and sexist messages about Red to family and colleagues. Attorney Jackson called Proctor a cancer that infected every step of the investigation and described him as both the key to the state's case and the state's Achilles heel. Jackson also emphasized that the prosecution's case is the literal definition of reasonable doubt and stated that the burden of proof would not be met because every detail of this case was handled by a discredited investigator with a motive to protect his friends. The Karen Reed case has attracted considerable public attention. On the first day of the new trial, dozens of Reed supporters, many holding American flags, stood in front of the courthouse before moving a block away to comply with the court's curfew order. Those reuniting hugged each other, while others took time to update newcomers about the case. "I'm here for justice," said Ashlyn Wade, a Reed supporter from Canton. "The killer going to jail and Karen being exonerated, that will be justice." Red, who has appeared in several documentaries about her case, has become something of a minor celebrity in the process. Speaking briefly to reporters, Reed asserted her innocence and praised her legal team. "I couldn't be prouder, and I'm lucky to have them. We have the truth." The Karen Reed case raises many questions not just about John O'Keefe's death, but also about the integrity of the justice system. The story has all the elements of a high-profile criminal case. A police officer who died under suspicious circumstances, a woman accused of murder, allegations of corruption and cover-ups within the police force, and a community divided over who the real victim is. This second trial is not just about determining whether Karen Reed is guilty, but also about restoring faith in the justice system. With contradictory testimonies, witnesses of questionable credibility, and alternative theories about O'Keefe's death, the jury faces the difficult task of finding the truth amidst a wealth of conflicting information. Prosecutor Brennan focuses on building the case based on Reed's own statements, arguing that her declarations on that fateful night and afterward are evidence of her guilt. Meanwhile, Reed's defense team points to flaws in the investigation, particularly the role of former police officer Michael Proctor, and proposes an entirely alternative scenario for O'Keefe's death. This legal battle is not only taking place in the courtroom, but also in the public mind. The trial has become the focus of media attention, with Reed's supporters standing outside the courthouse and numerous documentaries analyzing the case. Each side has strong supporters, and debates about Reed's guilt or innocence are vibrant on social media and in daily conversations. As the trial continues, many questions remain to be answered. Did O'Keefe really die from being hit by a car? Is there a conspiracy to blame Red? Was the investigation influenced by bias and corruption? And ultimately, will justice be served for all those involved in this tragic case? Whatever the outcome of the trial, the Karen Reed case will continue to be a topic of controversy and discussion for many years to come, not only because of its tragic nature, but also because of the profound questions it raises about the justice system and the process of seeking truth and justice.